Hi, my name is Deb Adams, and I'm from the Office of Early Childhood. My primary role there is to organize professional development and technical assistance for early childhood professionals working with young children and families. And I'm here to give you a little bit of a guide around the Connecticut Core Knowledge and Competency Framework for professionals working with young children and their families. So core knowledge and competencies refer to the expectations for what the workforce should know and be able to do in their role working with and or on behalf of young children or families. So what does that really mean, and who does that really mean? It really means a lot of people. These core knowledge and competencies were built upon the perspectives of education, special education, early intervention, health, mental health, and social service disciplines to address the early childhood workforce that works more closely with children and families birth to 5. So that's a lot of roles. It's not just teachers in the classroom, which a lot of people think. It's actually mental health consultants where appropriate. It's social work. It is teachers in classrooms. It's birth to 3 professionals. Anyone who really touches the lives of young children and families. These core knowledge and competencies were built on a set of guiding principles and core beliefs. And these guiding principles and core beliefs were actually reviewed and taken a lot from the New York core knowledge and competencies. The core knowledge and competencies for Connecticut were developed by a whole host of folks and a lot of documents from multiple states. And so we really did borrow a lot from other states and research. One of the guiding principles of practice that we look at is to build productive and reciprocal partnerships for children, families, and communities, recognizing that children are best understood in the context of their family, culture, and society. And we think that really kind of is overarching for anybody working with young children and families. A lot of our core beliefs align very well with what the pyramid model and good social emotional development subscribes to. You know, the family is where children gain their first experience in life and is the most prominent and continuing influence in a child's life. That's one of the core beliefs built from this core knowledge and competency framework. All families and all children and their families, regardless of their racial or ethnic origins, value systems, faiths, abilities, customs, languages, and compositions must be equally respected and deserving of the opportunity to succeed. And we know every human being is unique, with diverse modes of learning and expression, as well as experiences, interests, and strengths. So we also know that children are social beings who need to be engaged in meaningful relationships. Relationships really are a key to this entire document and align, again, very well with what the pyramid model and social emotional development subscribes to. This entire core knowledge and competency framework has parts of the Center on Social and Emotional Foundations for Early Learning documents, like the inventories of practices. A lot of the principles of the pyramid model are woven throughout every domain of this document. In fact, Section 2, which is about using developmentally effective approaches for facilitating experience, 21 of the items in that sections are based on the social and emotional work from the pyramid model. Again, it's woven throughout every single one of the domains in the document, but especially in Section 2, using developmentally effective approaches, is where it is most prominent. And I'm going to give you a few examples of where that shows up in Section 2. It's also in Section 1, which is child development. But Section 2, it's so prominent. So, for instance, in part of the shared core, which is for everybody working with young children and families, here are a few examples of how this comes out. Understands strategies for positive child behavior and supports. That's really basic. That's the actual first item in Section 2. Recognizing children need to adapt to new situation and how children do that. Everyone should know and understand appropriate strategies to support positive behavior. Everyone should know and be able to foster the ability to adapt to new situations, helping children to be able to do that. Everyone should use a framework to plan engaging experiences that foster critical thinking. And everyone should encourage positive interactions with the environment and with others, peers, family, and children, to support collaborative learning. This document truly does weave much of what the Center on Social and Emotional Foundations for Learning believes and understands about the role of relationships, families, and the role of every adult working with young children and families, and what they need to know and be able to do. The core knowledge and competency framework used in Connecticut provides the basis for professional development design. Our higher education institutions are using this document in order to look at their coursework and determine whether or not some of these competencies are part of the foundation of their coursework. We use it with students in higher education to test and assess whether or not they come in with a lot of these beliefs about young children, whether or not they come in to courses understanding what they should know and be able to do. And we are able to adapt the coursework in such a way to make sure that we meet that student where they are, just like we do for young children. So I'm happy to have brought to you today a little bit of an explanation of the Connecticut Core Knowledge and Competency Framework for professionals working with young children, and I hope that you find the document useful for you in your continued learning about social emotional development and the peer model. Thank you very much.